Oh, come on. Gotta get all my buttons pushed. Hang on. All right, there we got recording going. We should have sound, I hope. Didn't think I was going to make it back in time. I had to go out, and we got caught in traffic, and then there was, on the route we were coming back, there's a tunnel on Mercer Island, and there was a 6-car, really ugly pileup in the tunnel, and only one of the 4 lanes was open, so that took a bit of time to get through. So it was like, am I going to make it back in time? So, but fortunately I did. So we're just going to have an easy day again today. I'm trying to kind of contemplate what I want to do on the live classes going forward. Rather than having projects that I'm catching up with and stuff like that on the live shows, I may do those to video so that as I'm getting things to the point where I can video and get them up. And it may be more efficient and quicker than trying to get them onto the scheduled live shows. So I'm just going to be playing it by ear until I figure out what's going to be the best thing, not only for me, but more importantly, for you to get everything that is coming up, that's from the past, from the future, from the present kind of thing. So I'm still debating all of that. So we'll figure that out. But in the meantime, I still want to connect up with everybody. I love seeing everybody. I'm just looking for the most efficient way to get the projects in your hands, whether they're past or future projects. So debating through a little bit of all of that. I may also just go to one live show on Sundays, and we'll see. So it's kind of still in a bit of transitional period right now as to what we're going to be doing, how we're going to do it. I just want to make it work best for all of you, but also work to where I'm not getting myself to the place where I was, a month ago. So stay tuned on all of that. Excuse me. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed them, Jane. We did part of the pet project this the last class on Sunday, and pet project stands for pockets, envelopes, and tags. So it's not little furry friends running all around. As you know, I have multiple pets, love them dearly, but the pet project is for pockets, envelopes, and tags that can be used on any album, not any specific album, can be any of my albums. It's stuff that can be added in any of your own design albums and anybody else's albums for that matter. So fun to do. We're going to be doing more pet project stuff over the next few weeks, months, the rest of this year, because I got a huge long list of ideas that I scribbled out. I have a notebook that I carry with me, and I scribble all those ideas and stuff down as I come across things that inspire that. The weirdest things can inspire. What can inspire you can have absolutely nothing to do with what the final product looks like. A color can inspire you, a shape can inspire you, sounds can even inspire something graphic. So, you never know when inspiration is going to hit, like, envelopes in cars, things like that. So, there's just about a million things that we can do with that. So I'm excited to explore that in the future. Today, what I want to work on a little bit is, I thought about doing some more of the tags and stuff, but I think I'm going to save those. What I want to do today is I want to show you a little bit more of what I have discovered in my short amount of time playing with my stick tape, my hockey stick tape. I talked about this at the last class. This is the tape that hockey players wrap around the paddle portion of their stick as well as the handle part of the stick up at the end. So this is something that they change out depending on what level of players they are. Some change it out every game, some change it out once a week, some put it on once a season, but it's tough stuff. It's a cloth, woven cloth tape that comes in a natural color. I don't have much of the natural. I need to stop and get some. It comes in black, and it comes in, probably at least a dozen other, usually primary or brighter colors. But I've been playing with this for using it on the joints for our albums covers, and I've also been playing a little bit earlier this morning before I had to go out. I was playing with it as using it on my binding. So I decided we're going to play with hockey tape. So we're going to play some paper hockey today. We're going to play with some hockey stick tape. This stuff is, as I talked about in the last class, this stuff is super easy to find. Amazon, which is available worldwide, carries it. It's inexpensive. It comes in 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/2 inch widths. I'm using the 1 inch today. But it does come in, as I said, different widths, different colors, and it's easy to find. You can find it at any online hockey place. Pure Hockey and Hockey Monkey are the biggest ones here in the U.S. In Canada, you can get it practically in the grocery stores. Not quite, but Canadian Tire is a good place, and any of the hockey stores. Also, if you have a skating rink where they do hockey at all near you, if you're in a winter climate, or you have an NHL team, you will be able to find getting stick tape. Don't get sock tape. Sock tape is a different animal. Sock tape is usually clear and it's not as sticky. So make sure you're getting stick tape and not sock tape. Sock tape is what they wrap around their socks or the leg coverings. So you want stick tape. So make sure you I have some coming today from Amazon, says Crafty Daughter. So awesome stuff. It's super sticky, and it's going to be fun using it. So all these years of you having to listen to me talking about hockey stuff, it's finally going to pay off, and you all get to be paper hockey players now. So, but yeah, I went out into the garage this past week and was looking for something else and had all these rolls of stick tape sitting there, and it was like a light bulb went on. It was like, because years ago I had tried using some tape that is a woven cloth tape like this that is for bookbinding, and it was like outrageously expensive. And then the cloth woven tape that you can get that's for, like, stuff for medical stuff, it's not quite as sticky because you don't want it sticking to your skin so hard. So but this is cool stuff. So alrighty, so I am going to switch cameras. Lois says, I can barely walk now. You want us on ice. We're not making you skate today, Lois. So, Lois lives in Philly. And Philly has the goalie that played for the team that Sarah and I have been fans of, that we go and watch regularly. And they've been looking, their NHL team, the Flyers, have been needing a goalie for decades, basically. So now they have the most decorated goalie in the WHL, and for that matter, the CHL, or junior hockey. And he actually, 20 years old, and he's playing in the NHL this year, his first year pro. He basically kind of walks on water, according to those who live in Philly and into hockey. So you take good care of him there, Lois, okay? So, alrighty. Okie dokie. So I am going to switch cameras, and we will get started. I'm going to show you, it's going to be just a little freebie, quick and easy album. I don't know why my buttons aren't working very quickly. There we go. But it's going to be a quick and easy little album that we're going to do today. Just a little freebie thing. So here's the sample that I showed last class. We're using the tape on there's the joint, and we just have the tape on both sides. It makes a really good hinge, because if we use paper, we've used paper in the past, and a lot of people have problems with it cracking. I've been using fabric for the past several years, including fabric in my kits and such, and but not everybody can always find the fabric that they really want for this. So I think using this stick tape is going to be a great solution, because it's super strong and it's not going to crack, and it's thin enough that it's really easy just to run our paper right up close and next to our joint. You could also wrap the edges of your covers if you wanted to, so that your paper then, especially if you're using an 8.5 by 11, and my digital sheets are 8 by 10. If you cover the edges, then then you don't have to do much. You can stamp on this. You can emboss on it. You can stencil on it. It's just a nice fine woven. Yes, I am recording. Thank you. Thank you for checking, because I didn't do that the first time. So, but that's all fine and great. That was a kind of our personal show, and best that it worked out the way it did. So anyway, so there's all sorts of things that you can do to this tape. It's cool stuff. I'm excited. I'm going to show you this little page today, and here I've attached it to. This is a T-square binding strip. With this, you can attach to Stack the Deck, or you can attach to the T-square binding, and I also will show you how you can use the wraparound binding with it. So there's fun ways to use it. It comes in nice big rolls. I mean, this roll is probably, they're usually about that thick, so this is about a half a roll, and there's a lot on them. I'm not exactly sure how much is on them. Doesn't really say. This one's got all sorts. It's been in a hockey bag. I'm going to go get some fresh stuff, because this one's been in a hockey bag. It's got, God only knows what kind of pet hairs and all sorts of stuff on it. It's a mess. So anyways, but I want to show you this quick and easy little page, and then we'll attach it to some we'll attach it to an album cover. There we go. I am probably, I don't know whether I want to do black or craft. Since I have black tape, doing it in black, if I do it in black paper, essentially it would kind of just go away and you wouldn't really see it. But it makes it hard to see for when I'm assembling it. So while the album I'm going to make probably is going to be out of black paper and black binding, I'm going to do it out of craft for the sample page, and then I'll make the rest of my pages out of black. But for the sample, I'm going to make it out of craft so you can see what I'm doing. So with this one, this page is super quick and easy to make. So you're going to take an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Don't have to trim it or anything at this point. And we're going to score it in half. So we're going to score it at that 5.5 mark. You're not going to jump out of the ditch. So you're going to score it at the halfway point. And then on 1/2, you're going to fold, score it to the center point, and then I can turn it around and do the opposite side to that center point. Okay, so let me catch it in the light so you can see where those score lines are. Okay, so I'm going to score it down the center. Then on the right side, I'm going to score it 1/2 inch in along the top edge. And on the bottom half, on the other side, the left side, I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch up from the bottom. So, and those score lines go just to that center fold. Then I can trim it. I'm going to tab my corners of this tab section. So straight on the center line, and then tab the corner of the tab part. So you've got a tab on the bottom here, a tab on the top here. We're going to fold that in half. Yeah, as I said last week, I've had many Christmas presents wrapped using stick tape because Scotch tape could not be found. It's either stick tape or my packaging tape, that the wide clear tape that you use for packaging. Nobody ever seems to be able to find the Scotch tape in this house, but they can find my packaging tape or Trevor's stick tapes. Alright, so it's going to look like so. You're going to fold up the tabs, and then we're going to fold this over, and that will form a pocket. And then you have kind of a half-inch part sticking up here and a half-inch down here, and that's more for show. You can punch this edge if you want to. I'm going to round the corners of it after I've got it all folded up, so it doesn't really serve any purpose other than it's a kind of visual thing. So I'm going to, since I have tabs, you can glue it. I'm going to use score tape because it's quicker at this point. So this is just a simple basic page that has a pocket. We can divide the pocket into two parts. We can add flaps. You can add additional flaps, tags, envelopes, pockets, whatever you choose to do to the basic page, or you can just leave it a really totally basic page if you want. Oh, they just rip the paper. No, I'm talking about not just to close the box close at Christmas. This is to put the paper on the box. They've used it. So, the paper rips around it, so no problem. Alright, so then I'm going to take and round my corners. Or you can round your corners, or you can stub your corners. Whatever is your choice, whatever suits your fancy. So I'm just going to round those. Because how I envision is on the front side, the fold's going to be towards the binding. This I can add accent paper to it, and then when it flips over, I can add the accent on the bottom. So then the next page has the accent at the top. So, but this is a nice big pocket that you can fit multiple tags. If you want, you could just punch a hole here in the center and maybe tie some cording or baker's twine or something like that, and then you can have spot for two different tags. You can add a flap that opens from the top. You can add a flap that becomes a pocket from the bottom. You can add flaps from this side. You can add a cascade. There's any number of things that you can do. So fold edge is going to be along the binding. And I am going to do this one on using a T-square binding. You could do it also, and I'll show you how you could also do it to with a stack the deck binding, accordion binding, any kind of binding that suits your fancy. So I'm going to make my binding height from that fold to this fold here. So that distance is 7.5 inches. So I'm going to make my binding height 7.5. So I can cut an inch off of this because it's 8.5. And I've cut this piece 1 3/4 of an inch because that's the dimensions I'm using for the fin and the legs. So I'm going to score it down the center at 7/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to come in 1/4 of an inch. That's for the bottom. 1/4 of an inch, and that's for the leg. And then that leaves 3/8 to the center. Because this side and this side are not always equal, when I want something in the center, and then I'm gonna flip and do it, so I'm scoring on each side of that center from the same edge. Because otherwise, sometimes I find that it gets a little lopsided. Because I think this first eighth and any of the other eighths are slightly different. So this is going to be 1/4. So it's going to go 1/4, 3/8, 3/8, 1/4. And I have instructions on the T-square binding, free videos available on my website if you want to look at it. So I'm just going to fold. The first fold is the fold in half. So then the second fold, these kind of fold in a mountain or accordion fashion. So the second fold starts up, the little 1/4 inch one folds under. Okay, so you can see it's like valley, mountain, valley. And score that. All right. So you can see it's kind of an accordion with 2 longer legs in the middle. So we bring that center part together, and then we'll fold under those other parts as well. So let's do tape out. You can glue these or you can score tape them. So I'm going to just do 1/4 inch tape on the wider center legs, and I'll do 1/8 inch tape on these 1/4 inch skinnier parts. And you're just going to do it on the 2 outside ones and 1 of the middle ones. Okay, so we're going to fold to make that center fin. That's what we're going to attach our pages to. And then we can fold these under to the bottom side. All right, so you can see why it's called a T-square. It forms a T. So we've got our 2 narrower sections forming the bottom, and the 2 3/8 are forming the fin that will attach to. And you can make as many pages then as you want. If you want 5 pages, you make 5 of these. If you want 6 pages, you make 6, etc., etc. And they'll be able to just get placed side by side on the spine of our album. So you'd make one of these for each of the pages. So then our next step is adding on our tape. Now I want to tape it. This gets kind of messy, so I wanted to, let me grab something real quick that I want to do. Oh, maybe I can just do it onto this. I was going to grab my my platform for my Quick Shot, but I think this will work even better. I just want it up to where it can kind of hang over the edge so that I'm not messing up my base legs. But I needed something to where the tape, if it sticks to, it's not going to stick to it, if you get what I mean. If I were doing it on top of some paper or chipboard, it's going to want to stick to that. So if it sticks to the glass, it won't hurt it. So now this tape is hard to pull off because this is an old roll. I have no idea how old this is. So I'm going to make it just slightly longer than my binding strip. And I am going to take this to where it lines right up. The edge of my tape lines up with the edge or with that fold. So attach that on there. I'm not trying to stick it to the glass, but it's not going to hurt it if it does. I mainly want it to make sure it gets stuck to my binding. And then I'm going to come on this side. I'm going to trim this off square. You can also pinch these together this way if you need it to lay flat. Come off of there, tape. And I'm trimming this off mainly because my page is narrower than, or my binding strip is narrower than my actual pages because it's got those little flipper-doodle thingies on these ends. Okay, so I'm going to take my page. This is the fold because I want this to be a pocket. If you're using a page that has this open to be a sleeve, you can go ahead and glue that closed, or just when you attach it to this, it'll close up the bottom of that. So I'm going to place this on the tape. I have the tape side up now, the sticky side up. So I'm going to place this, and I'm going to allow about, up to 1/8 of an inch. And then stick that down so you can see there's about 1/8 of an inch. That's the sticky part of the tape showing. So I'm going to take my tape. I can do this the way I do it with my other tape. Place this on there next to my fold. You can also cut a piece off the length you need it and trim it. But I'm going to place that just like I did on the other side. I'm going to trim this. So just like I did on the other side, let's burnish that on there. Burnish it on the other side. So this, my T-square spine will attach to my spine of my album. And then this hinges, because we've got that gap there, it hinges. And I can cover over with my pattern paper. I have to go in there, touch that down a little bit. But what I'm thinking is I want to use black binding and black pages, and then with the black tape, essentially, it just kind of disappears. But that makes a really flexible hinge, easy moving, doesn't crack. It's strong because it's 2 thicknesses of a woven fabric with adhesive on it. This adhesive does not come off of a hockey stick when it's hitting a hard, frozen rubber disc at 90 miles an hour. I don't think it's going to come off your album. So it's pretty tough stuff. And so I don't get the money tape thing, but quick and easy. I know some people had, as Joy was saying, she had a little bit harder time using the fabric. I think the tape is even easier than the fabric. So But I do want to go ahead and make a couple of pages, but I am going to make them out of the black rather than the craft. Whatever kind of look that you want. And again, if you get the natural color, you can ink this to whatever color you want it to be. You can spray it, you can stencil it, you can do all sorts of stuff on it. You could actually and actually, if you have a glass mat like this, you could actually pull this off. This one's really old. You can tell because it's really stuck on there. So I could place this on here. I could do whatever I wanted, stencil stuff and that sort of thing, and it'll peel right off of my glass mat, especially if your glass mat is clean and then it doesn't take the sticky away. So the monkey tape isn't wrapped around, was it? Okay, I'm confused by that, but that's okay. Alright, says that makes sense. Super easy page. It's got a nice pocket for either a large tag, or we can divide it and make two separate tags. As I said, you can add flaps. And this is a nice size page. This is 5 by 7.5 for the actual page itself. If you want to count the tabs in there, it's 5 by 8. So, I mean, it's a decent sized little album to make. So, the tape I'm using is the 1-inch wide tape. You can also get it in 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. And this is, I'm not sure, this is a weird brand because this is not the same kind of woven. This is 3/4 inch, but it feels just as sticky, but it's more like a polyester rather than a woven. And this was not one I know. I just was scrounging. This stuff was all, we have these shelves that all Trevor's Hockey Gear has gone on to for years, and these were all sitting there. So, but this one is more like almost like a pull-on type stuff. So, oh, the reason where you get the monkey from is Hockey Monkey is a name of. They have Hockey Monkey, and I'm more familiar with Goalie Monkey. Lord knows where they came up with that name, but Hockey Monkey is a online hockey store. Actually, they have brick and mortar stores too, but Hockey Monkey is an online store that you can order the stick tape from. It's not monkey tape, it's stick tape, but Hockey Monkey is one of the U.S. shops that carry it. So, but they have Hockey Monkey and Goalie Monkey. They actually have Lacrosse Monkey too. I don't want to confuse that. So you haven't lost it, Lois. you're still with us. You just got the monkey part a little kerfuzzled. Oh, Play It Again Sports has it too if you have one local. But that depends on if they carry hockey gear. If you're in like Arkansas or something, they probably don't play a lot of hockey in Arkansas or some things like that. So they may have Played Again Sports, but they may not have stick tape. So Joy's now hungry for Chunky Monkey ice cream. That sounds really good. Isn't that like banana and chocolate or something like that? So, all right. So let me get my sheets all ready to go for. So I'm going to do 5 sheets. I need 5 plus 1 for my binding strips. So my binding strips have to get cut, so. And they're 1 inch shorter. Hi, Vanity Drop. Yeah, you probably don't have a lot of hockey in Arkansas. I mean, some southern states do, because Florida's got hockey, the Carolinas have hockey, Atlanta, does Atlanta? I think so. Yeah, no. Texas has hockey. I know Louisiana has junior hockey. It's not really the South, but Nashville has hockey, so if they got an NHL team, they probably have other programs as well, and you might be able to find, but it may not be in your area. So, but I did give, that's why I gave online sources for it. And I do not believe they have any ice rinks in Hawaii, Joy. So, she says, we surf. Lois has the Flyers and Carter Hart, so. And Pam's got the Bruins. I don't think she's here today, but she's got the Bruins because I'm always hearing about that. Yeah, it's hockey stick tape. I carry it, but then I have to ship it to you. It's faster if you just go straight to, I don't have a source to get it like wholesale so I can give you a price break on it. So you're probably just, the best bet is to just go ahead and order it through one of those. So I score that down the middle. And 2 1/4-inch sections on each side, which leaves 2 3/8-inch sections in the middle. As Amazon suddenly has a run on hockey stick tape and can't figure out why. Why are these ladies ordering hockey stick tape? I'm using 1 inch just because I think it's a good width, but if you can't find 1 inch, the other widths will do just as well. And again, we're scoring 2 1/4-inch sections, 2 3/8 sections, 2 1/4-inch sections. So 1/4, 1/2, 7/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/2 is the score lines. And this is 1 3/4 wide, and these are 7.5 for this page. It's 7.5 inches tall. If you're using it for a different page, you can adjust the height as you need to. Okay, so on these guys, and I'm doing 5 pages. So then I'm going to score this down the center, turn it, score 1/2 inch to the center line, and 1/2 inch to the center line. I'll do that for all 5 pages. I'm trying to remember the original T-square. I think I had maybe 1/2 inch fins on them. I made them a little narrower just because of how this makes my page sit up. It just seemed 3/8 seemed to be illogical, but 1/2 inch is fine. So you can use the typical T-square type height. I haven't done regular T-square in so long. I've been doing the T-square with fabrics, which has, rather than the seam being on the underneath side, it's open at this top, and the fabric comes out from it. So those have only been 1/4 of an inch high, but 1/4 didn't seem quite enough, so I did it with 3/8. But I also will talk about it momentarily. This is an extra piece of how you can do it, add it to like Stack the Deck or any kind of thin binding. If you want to do it on brand X accordion binding, you can. That's entirely up to you. Ouch! That did not feel very good. So if I have like a 1/2 inch, so if I'm doing Stack the Deck, let's pretend this is one of the Stack the Deck channels. So if this is my Stack the Deck channels, and I had, a couple more in the inside, but this is the fins for my Stack the Deck that I typically have my page then slide around and glue to. We can do the same thing as we did here, is rather than going to the fin of the T-square bindings, we can attach our page to the fin of our Stack the Deck. So these could be attached to the Stack the Deck spines in the exact same way with the tape. So I would add my tape to my Stack the Deck binding, add my page, flip it over, put the tape on the other side, and do the same sort of thing. I have a 1/2 inch fin. You can do 3/4 or a 1/2 inch fin, just like the T-square. It can be 3/8, or I mean a 3/8 or 1/2 inch. It can be on the T-square 3/8 or 1/2 inch. It's whichever you're comfortable with. But the fins of your Stack the Deck channels can also be either 3/8 or 1/2 inch. And as I said, the exact same way we attached it to the fin of the T-square binding, you can add it to the fins of Stack the Deck. That will work pretty much the same way. So trim and snip. Oops. Let's just trim it. We're going to assembly line these, so we're going to trim and snip. I am also, for those of you watching, I will leave this video up on YouTube. It will be linked back onto my website, but I will have it available live here on YouTube for you to view at any time. So those of you who are watching this on YouTube, yeah, it's longer than my typical videos that I've done in the past because it's from the live show, and that way you can also see the chat, because I enable the chat so you can see the chat and what people were asking. I never liked putting the videos, the live streaming videos, up on YouTube because you didn't know what I was talking about in terms of reacting to something that happened in the chat. So with YouTube Live, it does record the chat, and I can enable it, so I will. But I will also have my link available on my website. Now, on my YouTube videos, I know, because of the trolls, I no longer allow commenting on my YouTube videos. I just find it's better that way. So if you have a question, concern, complaint, whatever, feel free to email me with those at Laura Denison Designs. Denison has one N. I'm easy to get a hold of. Give me a few days, as always, to get back to you. unless it's super pressing and you need it immediately. If something is super pressing, like you need access to something, please make a note that this is a urgent, need it now kind of thing. I try to get to people as quickly as I can, but sometimes it comes in when I am not necessarily at home, and sometimes then it kind of slips a little bit for a day or two before I go through. Usually by the end of the week, I will go through my emails and see if there's any that I did not get to and respond. It's an oversight if I missed it, not an intentional ignoring. Okay, and I can fold up or under. We had a beautiful sunny day today, which is helping to melt snow. We still have some snow on the ground. I've never, in the 20 some odd years that I've lived in Seattle, have I seen the snow last so long after a snowstorm. I've seen it snow as much as we had it snow, but I've never seen it last. And we're supposed to get more snow on Saturday. We got a dusting night before last, but okay. This one's backwards. I gotta refold it. Thought something was wackadoodle. There we go. I want them all to be folded the same direction. I have a my desktop has got a bit of a warp in it, so this was bouncing, so I apologize for the noise I was making. Yes, it snowed in Vegas, and then my daughter has a friend who is in the Army, and he is stationed in Palm Springs, and it snowed in Palm Springs. So it snowed in Vegas this week, and it snowed in Palm Springs. Palm Springs is like 120 most of the time, so the fact that it snows was just kind of mind-blowing. Arizona is getting snow, but parts of Arizona, northern Arizona, up in the mountains, get snow typically. Not a lot, but it's snowing in Arizona, it's snowing in Vegas, it's snowing in Palm Springs. As I said to Sarah today, I go, oh my goodness, hell has frozen over. So, be warned. So with some of the pockets and tags and envelopes and that sort of thing that we've been making with the pet project, they can be added to a simple page like this really easily. These actually, seeing as they're done from an 8.5 by 11 page or sheet, you could actually use pattern paper for these. You could cut 8.5 by 11 out of some pattern paper if you wanted to, and make each of these, make it super fast and super simple to do then. Of course, the tape would show, but sometimes that's a look that you want. Now, be aware, the stick tape is a woven cloth tape. It has got very strong sticky adhesive on it, and that's why it works for this. This technique of adding the pages with the tape will not, I repeat, will not work with like washi tape. I can't even get washi tape to stay stuck on my pages, much less bind my books with them. So, washi tape, unfortunately, is not a substitute for the stick tape. So, yeah, you can make your T-squares out of pattern paper too. But I just want everybody to be aware that washi tape is not going to work. So it is nowhere close to sticky enough, nor is it that strong. Basically, washi tape is like masking tape and has about the stickiness of masking tape. I'm talking, Joy, about the washi tape that you find pretty much anywhere, not true Japanese washi tape, because that is thicker and stronger. But the washi tape that we all have ridiculous numbers of rolls. I never ever use washi tape, and I still have a dozen rolls of it. I know some people have washi tape addictions, so and have a lot of rolls of it. I just can't. I don't seem to be able to get it to stick. So. So I'm just assembly line creating my pages. Exactly the same way as we made the sample one. I'm just using all black. Okay, then I am choosing to round my corners. This is just for visual. It's not something you have to do. It's just a look that I want for mine. And again, this little tab that's hanging out on each side is single layer, is just for looks. It's not serving any purpose. Thank you, Mickey. Glad you could join us for a little bit. All right, there's my pages. Visual clutter out of the way. So. So, as I said, I'm just assembly line folding these. Do the center and then those little bottom 1/4 inch sections. And then flip it over. Do the next overfold. Okay, so I'm going to use my, oops, I need my 1/4 inch tape. We're going to have a rocking and a rolling. Here, maybe I'll stick mine on my, there, that's it. Okay, for the center fin, I'm using my 1/4 inch tape. Pam works a full day at work and then every night goes to her mom, make sure her mom's got her food and meds and all that kind of stuff, and then comes home and collapses. Hats off to you, Pam. I am so proud of you for all that you do, but I want you to take care of yourself, please. We had this discussion. Okay, and these two outermost sections, I'm using my 1/8 inch tape. I no longer use the Ustream. I am doing only live. Roxanne, I only do YouTube live. Ustream no longer has the free option available. You have to pay to stream with them. At least that's my understanding. But we switched, oh gosh, it's been over a year now, I think. Or right at about a year. So we do it here on YouTube Live. The vast majority of the videos for projects are recorded and available to view on my website, just like we've been doing for years. On occasion, I keep them live here on YouTube. Last week's and this week will be here on YouTube. When I'm doing kind of free project stuff, I keep it over on YouTube. Otherwise, it is stored on my website, and you can view it for free there. I totally understand. I took about a 2-month break in December and January, so I've just come back to doing the live stuff again. Life happens. All right, so we'll fold up the edges. And I'm going to fold the center. All right, so there's one of the T-squares. And it works. Sometimes doing production way gets a lot done, and just I was thinking doing these outer edges might be quicker, and it is. There's two. Then do the center. Hold those base back. There's 3. Fold and do the center. There's 4. And do that center. Close back. And there's our 5. So I'm going to take, this is the center, this is the bottom, so I'm going to take that center, I'm going to lay it on the edge there. That's some weird stuff. I'm just going to cut this slightly longer, trying to do it the way I do my score tape. It's messing me up. And lay that edge right next to the fold. Trim it off there. Trim it off there. Lay it sticky side up. Take my page, fold side 1/8 of an inch away from the fold of the, and I'm going to do production and then come back and do all that second side. So I'm just going to go into production mode with these. Do the same step. Get my pages attached. So sticky side up, fold side toward the binding, 1/8 inch gap. The next one. Sticky side up, fold 1/8 of an inch from the binding edge. Next one. I know, that's why I did the original sample one out of the craft, because I knew the black was going to be really hard to see on camera. So as soon as I get these the strips on, I will switch off to my other, this camera reacts to the lightness of the glass, and so it makes it look darker in my viewing area here to all of you. So I'll get rid of the glass mat here in just a minute. Put that right next to the fold. Flip it over. Fold 1/8 of an inch away from. Oh, I didn't trim all these first. I need to trim them before I stuck them onto. Okay, so we'll go back and trim them all. Whoops. Don't stick to yourself, lay flat. There we go. All right. Lay right next to it again. There's fuzzies on there. I have to pull those off. If this were a regular type of page, to where I could trim this easily afterwards, that would be fine. Again, so there's my hinging portion of my page. So let's go ahead and trim this off. Fortunately, I hadn't stuck it really down hard yet, so easy to trim off. Yep, it is, Joy. When Trevor was playing in Phoenix, that's the part. After I hit Bambi in the mountains about 2 hours west of Reno, I let Trevor drive that way. That's that whole Death Valley area. There's page 2. All right, so there's 3. That's a hat trick. those of you just coming in, I am making a mini album, and I'm using hockey stick tape, which is a woven cloth tape that's got very strong adhesive on it. I'm using that to attach my pages to a fin-based binding. So you can attach it. I'm using a T-square binding. You can use it on Stack the Deck. You can use it on any kind of accordion-based binding. But it makes a nice strong. So here's my binding, and it hinges easily, and it's double thickness of this strong woven tape that's got a skookum adhesive on it. Get that nice and straight. It's also readily available through Amazon or hockey supply stores, both online and brick and mortar. Comes in black, natural, and about 12 colors, and it's cheap. And there we go. We've got our 5 pages now done. So those are essentially ready to attach. So now we are ready to make our covers. So let me get rid of my glass mat because I don't need that any longer. And so our cover, I'm going to make it, since my pages are 8.5, and I like at least 1/4 of an inch. So I can make my pages 9 inches, or my covers 9 inches tall. And since I might kind of want some tabs sticking out or something like that, from my fold to the edge here is 6 inches. So I'm going to make it 7 inches. So I'm going to make my covers 7 by 9. Now, the attachment strip of my pages is a 1/2 inch wide. I have 5 pages, so 5 times 1/2 inch is 2.5. So I can then make my spine 2.5 inches by 9 inches. So I'm going to do 7 inches by 9 inches for my covers, and then 2.5. Oh, that is 2.5 by 9, and I just happen to have that one. Perfect. So I'm going to cut these down, my covers down to 2.5 by 9, as soon as I figure out where my ruler is. Here's my blade, but I don't see my ruler. All right, who took my ruler? Oh, there it is. So I have to cut 2 inches off the height and 1.5 off the width. Okay, there's a front and a spine. Okay, so there's my covers and my spine. So again, I can take my tape And on my spine piece, I'm eyeballing it kind of centered, as long as it covers over the seam or the joint on both sides. So then I can flip that over. It doesn't have to be dead on straight or perfect because we're going to cover it with pattern paper. I'm going to allow approximately 1/8 of an inch. And then with this one, I don't have to trim these off. I can just wrap this to the inside or the outside, whichever the case may be you want to call it. And I'm going to run this from that edge to that edge. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, a lot of people have problems with their paper when they cover their spine with pattern paper that it cracks. But that makes sense. Your paper is under stress at a crack. Even when you leave a gap, paper is not designed to be doing that sort of thing to where it's not like on the fin at that kind of a hinge. When it's the joint on like a cover, the way it's not only is it folding, but it's folding up and around. So it's being stretched and pulled, and that's why it fails and cracks. If it weren't being stretched and pulled, it wouldn't do that. But by the nature of what we're trying to ask paper to do, and it's not really designed to do that. So, then for the past many years, I have been using fabric and covering over my spines with fabric. And that has worked wonderfully well. It's strong. It doesn't crack. It coordinates well. But this way, with the tape, it's got the adhesive already built right in. It's strong tape because it's used on hockey sticks. And it's cheap and easy to find. And so then in between these, on my spine, on the outside, this can get covered with pattern paper, or if you wanted to, you could cover it with the tape. The thing I like about this too is it is a woven tape. It's very clean and fresh looking. I know over the years, duct tape has been used in a similar fashion. Duct tape is 2 inches wide typically. Duct tape just looks so plastic to me because it's a vinyl tape with adhesive on it. And so I much prefer the look of this to a duct tape, personally. So, all right, so that gives me my cover. There's my spine. So I can attach my first piece. I'm going to mark my center because I like to put the first one on when I have an odd number. I put the center one on first and then go out from there. So if I mark my center point, now these are going to be shorter by the nature of the height I chose to make them. So I want to make sure that I have that centered. So first off, I'm going to draw a line between my center marking so I have that line. Okay, so if this is 9 inches and this is 7.5, that's 1.5 inches. So I have to come up 3/4 of an inch from each edge. So let's just mark that. Now this area here will be able to be covered with pattern paper, or I can use my tape. So I'm going to take my 3/8 inch tape. Now you can also glue this. In fact, I would probably more highly recommend, for security purposes, gluing these down. But in the interest of time for today, I am Amazon. You can get the tape from Amazon. You can get it at, and I will get some links put up on my website, but you can get it at Amazon. You can get it at a place called Pure Hockey. If you're on the East Coast, that's probably one of the best ones. And anywhere else across the U.S., Hockey Monkey is a good place. And then, like I said, Amazon carries it as well. And it's called Hockey Stick Tape. Not sock tape, it's stick tape. Now, if we sold it for crafting, it would be 3 times as expensive. But because it's for a predominantly male sport, it's cheap and easy to find. Any brick and mortar store that carries any kind of hockey gear or equipment should carry stick tape. Alright, so I got my tape all attached. Okay. So I'm going to attach my center at that point. And that point. And I like attaching my binding, my pages to my binding and then attaching the binding rather than attaching all the binding strips first. That's just me. If you prefer to do it a different way, feel free to do that. But these, it's easier if you can lay it flat. Okay, so that gives me my first one on, and then I'm going to do 2 on each side. And this next one is easier. I just line up the top and the bottom and place it to where the folds are touching up against each other. Super easy. Super clean. If you don't like the joint down the center, you can cover that up with pattern paper. Next one, again, right next to it. Now this takes this right up against that joint. You may find you want to add maybe 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch to your spine to give you, so you're not right up against the joint. But that's a personal preference thing if you don't want to be right up against that joint. So I did a 2.5. You may decide, for my spine, you may decide that's a little tight for you, that you want a little bit more space here. Then you can do a, like for instance with this, I did a 2.5-inch spine because I had 5 half-inch pages, half-inch spines on my pages, which is 2.5. So you can make it 2 5/8 or 2 3/4 if you want that little extra breathing room. My son has been playing hockey for the past several years. If you've been around at all, those of you who've been around at all are probably sick of hearing about Trevor playing hockey. So it's finally giving back to my scrapbooking. It's done nothing but kind of take away for the past several years, but now it's finally giving back. I had a light bulb moment when I went out to the garage looking for something else and saw the tape sitting there. And it's like, aha! As I said the other day, I had used years and years ago some of the Ranger sticky back canvas, but it's hard to get a hold of. And then I had at that time found some cloth tape used for bookbinding, classic traditional bookbinding, but it was outrageously expensive. And that's when I started using fabric. But I went out to the garage the other day, and it's like some sort of light bulb went off in my head when I saw the stick tape sitting there. It was like, duh, why didn't I think of this years ago? So now what can we do with a hockey puck? It's easier to get a hold of than Tyvek, because Tyvek, most people steal it from the post office, which is a felony crime, by the way. Tyvek is a building material, and it is, I find it hard, somewhat hard to work with at times. But this tape has a nice finish that kind of works with the paper. So, as you can see, these flip easily. And with the black, I mean, it's showing a little bit more shine with the light on it. But when we put pattern paper on it, it's either way it can work. So how quick was that? We put together an entire album. So it's got a nice, these cute little pages have a nice pocket on them. We can split the pocket if we want, that sort of thing. So it's now ready for pattern paper. As I said, this bare part here and here, we can use our tape on that, or it can be covered with some pattern paper, whichever we choose to do. Now, I didn't really pull out any paper to use on this, but if we end up working on this on Sunday rather than on anything else, I'll have some paper good to go. Yeah, the reason I just said that about and if you ask them and they give them to you, then it's fine. But I do know that over the years with the Tyvek, people just say they just take them from the post office. And I read something somewhere that taking any of the packaging materials from the post office and using them for other things like the cardboard or the Tyvek is considered a felony offense. I read them, who knows where, might have been even Facebook. So, but yeah, it is. So just be aware of that. But you can buy Tyvek envelopes at office supply stores too. You can buy them individually or in a box of them. I just personally, it's never been my thing. The biggest thing with this is I want to use this for on my spines. I have never, in all of the years that I've been doing this, I have never had a hinge fail on me, and my albums have been at CHA or whatever they call it nowadays, where thousands of people have thumbed through them. So, unless you're picking stuff up by the pages and trying to pull them out, I honestly, I have never had a hinge fail. The reason I'm using this on here is not for the strength, but I like the flexibility of how easy these pages flip and how easy this was to attach. It's not really for the strength factor, because again, I have never had a page tear or fail yet, even with all of the abuse some of these have had. I've had albums that have been in stores as samples for 6 months, and they take a ton of abuse. I mean, the pages come back missing parts and stuff, but I've never had a hinge actually fail. So, yeah, they are expensive at the office, the Tyvek envelopes. So, I don't know if it's somebody who just bought some from Amazon. I know, like this roll, and this is a half gone roll. They're usually about this thick. they're like $3 to $5 in most places. Creativation, thank you, Lois. $3 to $5, and that's going to make a ton of albums. A roll of that. So it's just an idea, a thought. You know, maybe we should go back to doing these shows on Wednesdays and call them What If Wednesdays, because that's how I end up coming up with some of these things. It's like, well, what if we do this, or what if we try this? So, you know, with the what if idea, it's, you know, it's how over the years I've come up with some of the stuff I've come up with is, what if we try this? So, as I talked about for the weekday classes, I'm debating. I've always done them on Wednesdays, but Tuesday was too soon after Sunday. I couldn't get anything done in time because Monday's just a crazy day. So I was like, okay, Tuesday's out. So it's like Wednesday or Thursday. I was doing Wednesdays and Fridays as well as Sundays for a while, but 3 days right now is just too much. 2 days, probable. So I'm not sure whether Wednesdays or Thursdays work best for people. But maybe, yeah, Wednesdays can just be What If Wednesdays, and we work on pet project, or we work on, you know, things like this. I can show you different, you know, bindings, ways of doing some of the basic things that we do. And then we work on a project on Sundays. As I was mentioning earlier, for the major projects that we do, whether they're albums or 3D items, I'm debating as to whether or not to do them live here on YouTube Live, or whether I want to do them straight to video. Videos for the most of them would be still available in the archives for free viewing. Those certain aspects of some of the albums I've always made available, like page assembly, that sort of thing. I don't usually do those on my live shows, and those are usually only available for those who purchase the patterns. And those who have done that know they're available under the paid tutorials tab. So those portions of the projects would still be under the paid tutorial tabs, because those are parts I don't do on the live shows anyway. But the part that I would typically do on the live show, if I do them via video, those would still be available in the archives for free viewing. So, so I'm debating on all that. So, while we're kind of still working through how I want to work all this stuff, so that I don't get worn out, you don't get worn out, and you get everything that you're supposed to be getting. That's why we're figuring out. Now, I know Lois needs to leave us. She needs to head to Betty Bar because she's on the East Coast. I'm here on the West Coast. I'm going to switch cameras. So I do want to thank you, Lois, as always, for all the help and just your smiling face, even though I can't see you. I know you're there and smiling, and your support. And I just want you to know, Lois, I appreciate you greatly. Lois helps Joy out with moderating. To keep the trolls away. So she is my deputy in slippers, as she calls herself, but delightful lady, and I love her to death. So, and always, of course, without Joy, I would be quite lost. So, anyway, so if you have any questions or comments, good, bad, ugly, or otherwise, feel free to email me. Oh, Joy has the red boots. Probably rain boots, the way it's been raining in Hawaii right now. So she's stuck in all the rain and mud and landslides and stuff like that. I'm stuck in the snowy Northwest, which is really weird. The rest of the country is in deep freeze at times. I mean, when it's snowing in Vegas and Palm Springs, it's kind of wild. So, good time to be inside and crafting. So, anyway, that's what we're going to do for today. So, everybody have a wonderful weekend. I should be back. Make sure you always check just beforehand. But I should be back on Sunday for another project. I'm not exactly sure if we're going to be starting on the next angel, or if I'm just going to go straight with the angel straight into videos. I will keep you posted on that. I am working on getting the other blog set up so that I make my announcements on my old blogger blog. It will be linked on my website, so you won't have to go to someplace else. But I know it's easier for people to follow and keep up with. So, and that's where I will be posting information about classes, projects, products, that kind of thing, statuses, that will all be there, rather than over on the Facebook group Paperdoodles, just because not everybody is on Facebook and not everybody likes Facebook, myself included. It's become just a viper's den, in my opinion. So I've just decided I'll do that. My blog that is currently now on my website will become mainly just where finished projects and inspiration, that sort of thing, will be posted. So there will be my old following the paper trail.blogspot.com. I'm still working on that. I got my website opening page changed up, so it's got a new fresh look on that. And so next up will be getting the blogger website, blogger site back up again. If you followed it before, I'm not sure if you still will or not. That's something I need to check into, but I think it's going to be really much easier way to disseminate information, so everybody is getting the same information, because I've never come up with a really great way to put out the information. It just seems to miss about 30% of the people, no matter how many places I post it. So I'm trying to come up with a central place. So, alrighty, guys. I'm going to let you guys all go, and everybody have an amazing weekend. Thank you all so much for joining me, and we will see you next time. So peace out. Love you bunches. Bye for now.